Yeah, they say that, one of the main drivers of marital satisfaction is how couples relate when it comes to their finances. I know that you wanted to talk about financial infidelity here, Nate, which sounds like a salacious topic.
I
Can you
know.
kind of let's kind of give our audience a definition of what financial infidelity is, and then maybe let's dive into some ways that we can maybe provide some solutions for those in our audience.
Yeah. Um, so it has a couple of different definitions. The one I like is it's anytime we break our partner's trust around money,
Mm,
or if there's secrets around money where the expectation is that we're open and honest.
mm,
Um, so what it can look like, more, maybe we'll call them more obvious examples might be secret bank accounts, secret credit cards,
yeah.
secret debt, but
Welcome to AFO Wealth Management Forward, a podcast powered by Arrowroot Family Office that's at the intersection of accounting, wealth management, behavioral finance, technology, and entrepreneurship. We help accounting firms and financial advisors grow their practice by going beyond the numbers as we learn from industry leaders and subject matter experts to discover the secret to their success. A podcast that highlights everything from the transformative power of AI to embracing the human-first approach of behavioral finance to help you understand the psychological and emotional relationships to money and meaning. Here is your host, Rory Henry, director at Arrowroot Family Office and author of Holistic Guide to Wealth Management.
All right. Hello, everyone. I have another great guest joining me today. He is a certified financial therapist. He is the founder of the Financial Therapy Clinical Institute. I'm excited to have him on the show today to talk about relationships and money. So without further ado, let me introduce our guest, Nate Astle. Nate, welcome to the show.
hey, thanks so much for having me.
Yes, I am a big fan of your work. I know that you're from the family tree of the B5 folks out there. But for those in our audience that don't know you, Nate, can you give us a background on yourself and then the work you do over at the Financial Therapy Clinic?
Yeah, so my background's in mental health and couples and family therapy specifically.
Yeah.
I was very lucky to find financial therapy early in my career, so I kind of was able to tailor some of my graduate training and things in money stuff. So I'd say that my biggest areas of focus as a financial therapist are working with couples with financial conflict. So
Ah.
fighting about money. Quite a bit of financial trauma that I work with. And then, of course, all the like, how do I actually change my behavior around this thing? And so I tend to take more of a mental health type perspective there.
Yeah.
And then the business that I work with, the Financial Therapy Clinical Institute, is a collaborative practice actually. So I work with a CFP, a financial planner, and financial counselors, and we kind of all do different aspects of financial health. So it's been a ride, though. It's been really fun.
I like it because we have a similar model here where we really talk about bringing together a team of experts. I call it a virtual family office. So, a CPA, a financial advisor, estate planning attorney working together. I use the glue of behavioral finance and then the human first approach or methodology. So I love the fact that you're bringing in these various professionals on the therapy side as well as the financial planning side to better serve those needs of the clients. Can you kind of talk about, maybe for our audience here, define the different occupations between, let's say, a financial therapist, the difference between that and an actual therapist? When do you start, if you're a financial planner, let's say a CPA, when do you start engaging a financial therapist on issues that are outside of your expertise? Can you talk about the different definitions of each of those occupations?
Yeah, it's a good question. So financial therapy is kind of an umbrella term for a lot of different techniques and ideas in between financial advice or financial
Yeah.
planning and mental health therapy. So there are some financial therapists that are also mental health therapists, which like me.
Yeah.
There are some financial planners who use, psychological ideas and concepts and things that call themselves a financial therapist as well. So there is some homework you need to do on that range. I think versus like a mental health versus a financial health or financial therapist, um, most mental health therapists unfortunately don't get a lot of training specifically around money.
Yeah.
That's honestly next to nothing. So it doesn't mean that they can't help with anxiety or depression or treating a mental illness, but some of the things that are unique to money, you probably would want to go to a financial therapist for. Um, if I was your second question about like if I was a CPA and maybe I'm working with a couple or somebody and they're really struggling to make different financial choices, or you're
Yeah.
noticing that their stress levels are really, really high around something that I don't want to say it's unwarranted, but there's a scaling issue, right?
Yeah.
If they are feeling the money feelings at a 10, but the actual data you have in front of you is like a 3, then
Yeah.
there might be use for a financial therapist there to kind of get that back on the right track.
Yeah.
Are you an accountant looking to generate more revenue and secure your future success as automation and artificial intelligence revolutionize the accounting profession? If so, contact us at AFO Wealth Management Forward. We specialize in helping accountants and advisors just like you build a custom brand to pinpoint your optimal clientele, generate highly qualified leads through our data-driven digital marketing, and execute wealth management growth services to bring more value to your firm and your client's life. Our strategic approach to branding, marketing, and wealth management is carefully tailored to attract ideal clients, increase customer retention rates, and cultivate lasting relationships with clients across generations. Visit wealthmanagementforward.com to book your free consultation to find out how you can elevate your practice.
As financial planners or CPAs, we're in the business of helping people obviously, do their taxes or work on a financial plan, help them grow their wealth. But I think when I hear financial therapy, and I've gone through the certified financial therapy program, I think of what the work that is done with clients is really helping them think, feel, and behave differently when it comes to money. So it's
Mhm.
maybe the difference between growing somebody's money or protecting their wealth, and really more the psychological, the emotional aspects of how people deal with money. Is that accurate assessment there?
For sure. The way I kind of think about it is maybe more traditional financial planning or advice is our goal is to make and keep money
Yeah, yeah,
with a side benefit of psychological well-being. And I would say FTA, the priorities are probably switched. It's like we want you to do well financially and make different money choices,
yeah,
but our main goal is that you're experiencing yourself and your money differently.
yeah,
So, but
yeah.
there's always overlap for sure.
Yeah. And I've cited the American Psychological Association, the Stress in America survey. The main stressors for Americans out there revolve around money. I think it was Dr. Daniel Crosby, Nate, that said that. I think he points out the 3 top ones are money, your job, and the economy, which in essence is really money, money, money. So kind of
Mhm.
let's dive into some successful financial management strategies that you have with working with clients, couples. I know you've talked about the yours, mine, and ours. So can you kind of talk about maybe some strategies here that folks in our audience can understand to maybe better work with clients on?
Yeah. So much of how we feel about money is based on how we feel about our safety.
Ah,
And so when I'm working with couples, one of the things I'm trying to build is emotional safety between the couple. Because if I can feel like my partner is on my team and we're on the same page and we're making decisions together, I might still be worried and stressed about the
yeah,
money stuff, but it's gonna feel so different. Um, so, one of the things that causes a lot of conflict in marriages is money and
money.
money
Yeah.
disagreements. Um, the way I think about it is there's two pulling forces
Hmm.
uh, in a couple. One is dependence on each other. I need to be able to lean on you. I need to be able to trust that you'll be there for me. This is both emotionally and financially.
Mhm.
There's also we'll call it an opposite need for autonomy. I still need to be me. I still need to be an individual. Like, I need to like what I want to like
Yeah.
and have decisions. Like, I need to be able to make my own decisions, even if you aren't on the same page as me. That's where the yours, mine, and ours comes in. Is, we one thing I suggest to couples is, let's look at all of your income together. Let's look at all the expenses you have. What are the things that benefit both of you, or that both of you are on the same page about? So, rent, groceries,
Right.
utilities, kids' clothing, all that kind of stuff. And then what are the things that, if it wasn't for your partner, you probably wouldn't buy? Well, he's really into golf, or she's really into this hobby, whatever it is. Great. So we are going to have a yours, mine, and ours. It can be
Mhm.
actual different accounts, or it can be the same account and we're just mentally doing
Mental
it.
accounting. Yeah.
Yeah. But basically, let's come up with a number that's like, okay, we have to take care of our shared responsibilities. We're honoring our interdependence,
Mhm.
and we both are individuals that need autonomy. So you know, let's say, okay, we each get $100 a week or a month, or whatever the budget is, doesn't matter, that you get to spend on whatever you want. I can't say a word about it. And I get the
Mhm.
same amount that I get to spend, and you don't get to say a word about it. And so it's a structure that fosters both needs getting met.
Mm.
So that's one of the reasons I really like it.
Yeah. No, I like that as well. And I don't know for which course that I got it from, but you know, I it was something like separate the people from the problem. In working with couples, the example is something like instead of saying you spend too much, it was like our income can't support our expenses. So that simple reframe, uh, it is more effective way of communicating with your partner, so they don't feel that they're being attacked and that they have to be on the defensive. Is that something that you'll utilize in helping people frame how they communicate with each other?
Yeah, it's one of the first things that we do. It's not you versus me, it's you and me versus the
Yeah.
problem. And we do have to acknowledge, like, there might be times when certain partners have more of their share to take care of. But this can't be something that, like, we dig our heels in and it's like, well, if you don't change, then it's like, let's try and do this as a team. If we're gonna make this work, it has to be together.
Yeah. And isn't it important because we're it's almost a mindset shift too, that going into these going to a relationship or working with your partner there, that you're going to expect these things to come up. You're going to expect arguments. But I think it's a way for us to have conflict be an opportunity to have these type of discussions, to iron out these issues so they don't boil up over time, and that we can be on the same page. Is that what you're seeing when you're working with clients? Is really, hey, let's get everything out on the table. Let's set some guidelines or some rules here. And then, when arguments do come up, we're gonna expect that they are gonna come up, but that is actually that conflict is actually an opportunity to really have better communication skills with each other.
I've been a couples therapist long enough to know that when couples aren't fighting is when I'm most worried.
Ah,
Um, but it's not, there are some couples that have high levels of conflict, and we need to manage it. We need to work on reducing it. That's fair. When couples tell me, and they, quite honestly, I rarely see them in my office, but when couples tell me, like, oh, we don't fight, it's that is a time bomb that will go off.
yeah.
It's impossible to be a human in a human relationship and not have disagreements about things. You're right, though, that we need to have structure around it so we don't blow up on each other. But some of the best growth individually and as a couple happens when we're willing to be honest about our experience, our fears, our emotional, or our emotional experience with our partner. So
Yeah. And do you work with your clients on helping them talk about their relationship to money, their upbringing when it comes to their beliefs around money? Do you initiate those type of conversation with those clients?
yeah, it's one of the benefits of being a financial therapist is a lot of people tend to expect it by the time they reach me, they're like, okay, something's happening here. Um, but one thing I've learned is money is deep and is deeply rooted.
Yeah.
It goes back to childhood. It goes back into our sense of self, like our mortality is brought up. Like it's it's never about the numbers. In fact, when we over focus on the numbers, we do ourselves and our families and our relationships a lot of disservice. Like
Mm,
money is just a thing.
yeah.
It's a thing humans made up and decided we're going to operate on this system. But how money makes us feel and how it makes us behave in our relationships can can be some of the sweetest joys or devastating. So it's really important that we're really intentional about looking at our money through a holistic lens. Um, that's why I love what you're doing with your practice and the institute is this can't be something we just number out for people.
Yeah. For those in our audience who may be a little skeptical or are fearful of having these, let's say, therapeutic conversations, what do you say to them as the benefits of working with someone like yourself, Nate, to iron out some of these issues?
It's super normal to have big money feelings. Um, there isn't a human that you've ever met that doesn't have some kind of money story. And sometimes we need extra help if our money story isn't what we wanted it to be,
Yeah.
or we need it to be in the future. It's human. We all have big I'm a financial therapist. I have big feelings around money too. Um, However, not dealing with some of those things can have significant financial consequences and significant emotional, psychological, and relational consequences too. So I'm just, whatever you do, whatever choices you make, I want you to do it on purpose. Like, be intentional with your money, including maybe the parts of your money story that have bigger feelings attached to them.
Yeah, they say that one of the main drivers of marital satisfaction is how couples relate when it comes to their finances. I know that you wanted to talk about financial infidelity here, Nate, which sounds like a salacious topic.
I
Can you
know.
let's kind of give our audience a definition of what financial infidelity is, and then maybe let's dive into some ways that we can maybe provide some solutions for those in our audience.
Yeah. Um, so it has a couple of different definitions. The one I like is it's anytime we break our partner's trust around money,
Mm,
or if there's secrets around money where the expectation is that we're open and honest.
mm,
Um, so what it can look like, maybe we'll call them more obvious examples might be secret bank accounts, secret credit cards,
yeah.
secret debt. But financial infidelity isn't just these huge money secrets. There are also little ones that build up over time. I lied to my partner about how much something cost. Um, I, it, I, I'm not sharing the whole truth. I'm sharing part of the situation. That type of stuff it, is more common than we talk about. I
Yeah.
think financial infidelity is actually pretty normalized in culture. Like,
Mhm.
oh, don't tell your dad how much this costs, or oh, I gotta hide that receipt. Um, However, what we do know is that financial infidelity can have the same effects as sexual infidelity.
Mm,
And again, sexual infidelity also has like a range. Like
right.
there's full-on affairs,
Right.
there's one night stands, there's
Right.
emotional, and there's all these variance and the same kind of thing with money. But we have to look at this honestly. Um, if we're hiding and keeping secrets from our partner, it does a lot to tear down trust.
Yeah.
And I think one of the reasons this is so insidious is we deal with money every day.
Yeah.
It's not a day in your life that you don't experience money, either spending or working for it. And so there's going to be very consistent reminders of the betrayal, of the hurt. And I think that's where the real damage happens, is it can come up a lot. Um, I as far as like what do we do? I think one broad sense, we build a culture of financial openness
Mm.
in our relationships. We make it okay to talk about money. Um, that is something that couples and communities on a societal level need practice at. Like,
Yeah.
this isn't something we just kind of sweep under the rug and
Right.
like it won't work. It just won't.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think most people know that on some level.
Yeah. I mean, I've talked about it a number of times on the podcast with folks like Dr. Christy Archuleta and others about money being that taboo topic. We'd rather actually talk about sex more so than money. So what are some ways that we out here, besides just talking about it on this podcast, Nate,
Mhm.
can start promoting a more open and honest dialogue when it comes to money?
I really love encouraging couples and really anybody. If you're in a relationship, start talking about expectations around
Uh,
money. When a couple is first starting to get together, it's fairly normal for them to outline what are the boundaries of our relationship. What's okay and not be okay behavior, especially when it comes to like sexuality or something like that. Um, is I think for most of us, like, yeah, okay, you not telling me and going out and having an affair is cheating.
right,
Is it
right.
cheating when you message someone on Facebook, or an ex-girlfriend or an ex-boyfriend? Is it cheating when you flirt with the waiter or waitress? Is it cheating? Like, those are really healthy
Yeah.
conversations for people to have about what is our relationship around this area. Do the same thing with money. Um, what are our expectations around how money is going to be spent or shared? Do we want to have a number that, like, we don't spend this amount without checking in with the other first? And obviously, all of this depends on the type of relationship, how long,
Right.
a married couple for 20 years, it's going to look like different than someone for been dating for a year. But let's talk about our expectations. Um, let's also start questioning our expectations. I think that's something that, just like sexuality, unless we're intentional about it, it's really easy just to assume everyone else feels and thinks the way I do, but that's not the
Yeah.
case. Um, so that's the kind of promoting of an open culture around money is, what do I expect? What do you expect? Are we on the same page there? Like, why do I expect that thing? That's where our money stories get into, like, oh, where did this come from? My mom told me this, or I saw an aunt do this and it really backfired on her. Like, those are so good. They're juicy conversations, and quite honestly, I think they're fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've had an absolute blast actually learning about people's money stories,
Mhm.
asking about their money memories, who was influential when it came to their beliefs around money. And people want to tell their story. Maybe it's because we're in a professional setting. It's a little different, Nate. But people like talking about, their earliest memories when it comes to money. And then, always talk about obviously building that picture of that future, work by Hal Hirschfield, doing a miracle question or a best hopes question of what their ideal state looks like. And I think we have an opportunity to build our own money movie, really looking at our past, right, our present, and then having that future state that we want to get to, and be able to tell that story. And telling that story allows us to then let people into who we are, what our aspirations are, what our fears are around money. am I going to go broke? Right. Or is money going to corrupt me if I have too much? And so allowing people to have that space and to talk about their money story can be incredibly revealing for themselves. And then it gives us a way to be able to better interact with them and hopefully optimize our relationship with that person.
Yeah, 100%. It's very human if we allow it to be. And I think if we can stop seeing money as just this eternal math game that we have
Yeah.
to manage in our lives, instead be like, this is a reflection of me, or it's not, or if we can make this more personal, that's kind of the cliche, but like personal financial planning, if we
Yeah.
can
It's
really
deeply
see,
personal.
yeah, if we can really see the human in this, it can be a huge catalyst for change in a lot of areas of life. So
Yeah.
it's cool. It's cool
I
work.
like it. I like it. All right. All right, Nate. Is there anything that I didn't ask that you do want to share with the audience?
Uh,
I'm sure
be
there's a
kind to
lot, but is there
yeah,
anything that comes to top of mind?
be kind to yourself.
Ah,
Honestly, shame is the enemy of change. If we're feeling bad because maybe we made some bad decisions, maybe we have regrets, maybe we start to view ourselves as our failures, it's going to keep you stuck. And so it's really important to get the support that you need. So as much as you can, try and find a little bit more self-compassion, same you would give to anybody else,
yeah.
a family, a friend. Um, we don't beat ourselves upwards. We actually beat ourselves downwards. So let's not do that anymore. Let's try and find a little bit more grace, and let's try and make some
Lift
different
ourselves up.
choices too.
Yeah. Awesome. I like it, Nate. I appreciate you coming on the podcast here. If our audience want to learn more about what you do at the Financial Therapy Clinical Institute, what's the best way to reach out to you?
Yeah, feel free to find me on LinkedIn. I'm an open book. Yeah, the Financial Therapy Clinical Institute, we have both a clinic to provide services, and we also have some trainings for financial professionals and mental health professionals to how do we help our clients, open up this conversation more. So, but yeah, reach out however you want.
Yeah, I get it. I love it. I love it. I love the McKinsey study, Nate. I think in the future here, we're all going to be life and wealth planners, right? And so I really appreciate the work you're doing at the Financial Therapy Clinical Institute. And I appreciate you coming on the show. We'll put all that information in the show notes.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks, Nate.
All opinions expressed by Rob Santos and Rory Henry on this website podcast interview are solely their opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Arrowroot Family Office LLC or their parent company or affiliates, and may have been previously disseminated on television, radio, internet, or another medium. You should not treat any opinion expressed by anyone as a specific inducement to make a particular investment or follow a particular strategy, but only as an expression of their opinions. Past performance is not indicative of future results.